know when we're ready.
Amen. You may be seated if you can. Especially has something she wants to share with us. Go.
Okay, the Lord laid this on my heart this morning. I just want to say, Lord, I thank you for me getting baptized. Father God, clean me from all unrighteousness that I got in my body and make me clean. And Father God, I just want to say that I thank my family right here. Because everybody comes to this special event. And I want to say, God's working. I want to say I love each and every one of y'all, and I thank y'all so much. You know, God's turning my life around. And I got good family support, even though it's hard sometimes, but you know, God's in our lives.
Amen.
And I love each and every one of y'all, and I love this church.
We're your family too.
I know, yeah. Woo! down, but God's gonna see our way through. He's gonna make it right. And I just want to say that I love y'all. And I thank y'all so very much. And I'm gonna turn it over to Alicia.
you ain't at home.
That's right. Amen.
Amen.
Hey, y'all, some of y'all are looking at me like, I know him from somewhere.
Bless him, Lord.
But I'm glad I'm not there no more.
Amen.
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 I heard a man has told his wife they were having trouble with their kid. He just in and out of trouble, stayed in trouble, and said, we don't know what he's going to turn out to be. He said, I got an ideal. Said, I'm going to see what he's going to become. And so he put a stack of money on the table. Said, now, and put a liquor bottle in the middle, and put a Bible on the end. Said, now, if he comes in and he gets that stack of money, he's going to be a banker. If he takes that liquor bottle, he's going to become a bootlegger. And if he takes that Bible, he's going to become a preacher. Amen. And so he came in, and he took that money, and he slipped it in his pocket, and he took that liquor bottle and drank it, and he picked that Bible up, and he said, oh, Lord, he's going to be a politician. You have your Bibles, turn with me. John chapter 6. 2 weeks ago in the homecoming service, I preached a message on Let It Go. Yeah. Preached on forgiveness. Yeah. Well, this morning, I didn't know that this was turning into a series, but the Lord laid this on my heart. I woke up early. I want to preach on Let It Go. Amen. We need to get rid of the fragments of our life. Amen. In John chapter 6, you know the story well, but we're going to read it to you. After these things, Jesus went over into the Sea of Galilee and to the Sea of Tiberias. And a great multitude followed him, because they saw his miracles, which he did on them that were diseased. And Jesus went up into the mountain, and there he sat with his disciples. And the Passover at feast of the Jews was nigh. When Jesus then lifted up his eyes and saw a great company come unto him, he saith unto Philip, which shall we buy bread that these may eat? This he said to prove him, for he himself knew what he would do. Did it ever occur to you that nothing has ever occurred to God? He knows exactly. He knows who's here today.
That's right.
By providence that you're here, not by chance.
That's right.
He said, Philip answered him, said, 200 penny worth of bread is not sufficient for them, that every one of them may take a little. And one of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, saith unto him, there is a lad here, which have 5 barley loaves and 2 small fishes. But what are they among so many? And Jesus said, make the men sit down. Now there was much grass in the place, so the men sat down and numbered the 5,000. And Jesus took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed the disciples, and the disciples to them that were set down, and likewise of the fishes as much as they would. And when they were filled, he said unto his disciples, gather up the fragments that remain, that nothing be lost. And therefore they gathered them together and filled 12 baskets with the fragments. of the 5 barley loaves, which remained over and above unto them that had eaten. Then those men, when they had seen the miracle that Jesus did, said, This is of a truth, that prophet that should come into the world. Now, the Bible reveals to us of a place on the side of a hill, that where Jesus set these down as the feeding of what is known as the feeding of the 5,000. That is only counting the men. It is estimated that there were some 20,000 people, 20 to 30,000 on that hillside. But what I'm amazed at and through this story is, and I want you to take notice in verse number 11. The Bible said, And Jesus took the loaves. When I read that, it stuck out to me. I've read this many times, preached it through the years. But when I read that again, as this text, and Jesus took the loaves. Now, that wasn't implying that he pried it from the lad. It's not even giving a suggestion that he bullied him by going over to the lad and saying, Listen, bless God, if you don't give me that food, I'm going to paralyze you from head down. He didn't bully him. He didn't pry him. And the fact of getting this meal from this boy, but the Bible said that he took it. That is indicating that he received it. He received it. Now, in order to receive something, there's somebody, that is the person that is giving it, had to let it go. That's where my thoughts is coming from. That this young lad, I don't know how old he is, probably the age of 12 or somewhere in that neighborhood. His mama wasn't there, his daddy wasn't there, and he followed the crowd, and he wasn't expecting on that day to give what he got or what he had that he gave unto Jesus. And listen, by the way, I don't know what you're here for today, but I do understand that there's a principle of this story that is a fact that this youngin did what he was supposed to do, and the reason he done it is because he got around preaching. Amen. Preaching. Now, this is where I want to stop right here and preach a little while. Because, listen, I believe that this boy, when he left that morning, if somebody was said, let me have your lunch, he'd have said, no way. Amen. I wouldn't give this lunch to nobody, even God. But when he got around preaching, things changed. You know what, folks, I want you to know something. It's a problem today is that you call me on the phone and you'll explain all your problems to me. You'll hold me up about 2 hours on the phone, but I can't get you here for a 30-minute sermon. Hey, I want you to know something. Hey, how can I ever help you if you don't get around the preaching of God's Word? Where the Holy Ghost of God can help you and deal with you, and there you can get some help and get free. Well, I'm glad today that you get some help under the preaching and the anointing of the Holy Ghost of God.
That's right. Be to God.
Preaching.
Preaching. God bless your heart.
Boy, what we need around here is some preaching, though.
Amen.
And get some help.
That's right.
You know why folks are struggling, having problems, and having times is because you can't get them to the house of God.
Yeah. Amen.
I mean, they're out running around, they're running here to and fro, and they're struggling and having a hard time. If they could just get to the house of God, and there get on the anointing, get on the spot where the glory comes out, I want you to know something, God can help them. God can help them. Hey, I want you to know something. The Bible said that chose the foolishness of preaching. They're saying no. Hey, I'm glad that he's talking to a person today that needs help. And God, you're going to get it today. You're going to get some help because you're under the preaching of the Word of God.
That's right. Come on, brother, preach it out.
You know something? Not only do we see that, but we also see that what you have, there you must give it to Jesus. Now watch this. This boy. Now, I thought this was peculiar. That when the Bible said that Andrews, which was Simon Peter's brother, in verse 8, that he told Jesus that here is a lad and that he has 2 fishes and 5 loaves. Now that's equivalent of 2 sardines and 5 hush puppies.
Yeah.
To us. Now how did he know? I want to ask you a question. How did Andrew know what was in the bag? I'll tell you how he knew.
Yeah.
He snooped. That sucker went over there and peeked. Now here it is, folks. We got a lot of people that has problems, but instead of looking at your own problems, you're peeking at somebody else's problems. Peeking at them. Instead of dealing with your own, you want to look around and see everybody else's problem. Hey, there's somebody here I know. Hey, that's done drugs. There's somebody here. Hey, listen, I want you to know something. Bless God, they're right here, right now. That's all it matters. That they get out of the preaching where it's about to blow and get out of the Holy Ghost of God the way they can get some help.
Jesus. Amen. Yes, go up.
Right.
Thank you.
Now watch this young boy. This boy didn't give it to Andrew. He didn't give it to Philip that doubted. It's 200 penny worth. We don't even have enough to feed all these. He didn't even give it to Peter, James, and John. You know why? I believe he gave it to Jesus was because he knew that they couldn't do nothing about it. They gave it to Jesus, but one that he knew could do something about it.
Amen.
I believe that he had faith.
Yeah.
Hey, the rest of the bunch doubted. Now, even as they looked, they said, here's a lad. But all he has is these 2 fishes and 5 loaves, and we have all these people. I doubt if that will even do what needs to be done. You know why some people are so depressed? You know why some people are so down and out? It's because they hang around with downers and outers. They hang around those folks that likes depression. I mean, the birds and the feather flock together. And if you don't believe me, you go on Facebook, and you may be up and encouraged. You go on Facebook, pretty soon you'll be depressed. Huh? Somebody on there will say, I'm down, I'm depressed, and you'll have 19 likes in 2 minutes. But you put on there, I love Jesus, and see how many likes you get. People like misery. People like company. Hey, they want somebody else to be miserable. So they put it on there. Hey, I'm sick and tired of going on Facebook and seeing all the depression and the trouble. Hey, won't we just brag on Jesus and tell them what he's done? God can change your life. Woo! Once you come to Riverside Baptist Church, you get under the preaching of God's Word, under the Holy Ghost, and the anointing of the power of God, and see what it does. It'll change you. You'll walk out of here with a spring in your step. You'll walk out of here with a smile on your face. You'll walk out of here with some joy, unspeakable and full of glory. You know why? Because that's who you're around. You know why I'm not going to hell? Because I'm not going that way. You know why I'm going to heaven? Because I'm heading there. I'm not getting there. I'm already.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Hallelujah. That's what he says. He says, come in. Well, you know right now that we're seated in heavenly places in Christ Jesus. It's the closest that you'll get to heaven.
Come on.
Right here, right now.
Come on.
Where God's people are gathered together.
Amen.
Watch this. You know what he done? He handed it to Jesus.
Glory.
All that he had.
Yeah. Amen.
He gave to Jesus.
Amen.
Oh, he said, I don't know. I don't know what you can do with this, but here it is. I want you to know something. The devil will tell you in your limitations that you're good for nothing. You don't have anything to offer. I want you to know something. I didn't have anything to offer. I'm a pot-smoking alcoholic. I'm glad I just came to the house of God and came to the altar and got saved. I got the amazing marvelous grace. He changed my life. I don't have anything to offer, but he says, I want you. That's what God will do. Yeah. See, I had to leave the sheriff department because they didn't like the things I was doing. Now they put me on work detail and I just preached to all the inmates and talking about Jesus and helped them. I mean, we get out in the middle of the road. I'm talking about some rough folks. We get out on the middle of the road in Broad Street and stop and just get in a circle and pray. People riding by, seeing folks in orange praying. I say, hallelujah! Amen. We're here to hurt you. We're here to help you. Hey, let's talk. I want you to know something. There's something better than jail. There's something better than prison. That's Jesus. He'll change your life.
Glory. Hallelujah.
Let it go. Let it go. This man, this boy. This is all that I have. But here, if you can do something with it, you take it. Jesus took it. You know what? Jesus didn't go there and said, bless God, I thought you'd have more than that.
Yeah, come on.
I thought you'd have at least a dozen fish in there. I thought you'd have a dozen loaf of bread in there. But hey, listen, I can't do anything with that. What is this? 2 sardines and 5 hush puppies. What's that going to do to 30,000 people? I can't do anything with that. No, bless God, the Bible says that hey, if you'll come to Him, He'll no wise cast you out. He'll take what you have.
That's right. Amen. Thank you, Lord.
Thank you, Jesus.
Can I say this and I'm going to close? But Tony's going to go baptize in here in just a minute. I'm going to tell you this last thing is that when you give it to Jesus, you give it not expecting anything in return.
Yes. That's right. That's right.
You know what this boy, you know, sometimes we come to the house of God and we think that whenever we do something for God, we're like a bunch of spiritual puppy dogs. Whenever we do something, we're expecting a treat. We're expecting something to return. I'm talking about a pat on the head or something on the back. I mean, give you a doggy biscuit. Hey, you done good. Go home. Hey, here's a baby bottle. Hey. Oh, no, I'm talking about, son, this boy, when he gave it all, not expecting anything in return. And if you look, when they passed it out and they all ate.
Yeah.
The Bible said, Jesus told him, said, pick up the fragment, pick up all that that was remained, pick up the crumbs, and put them in a basket. And there were 12 baskets remained.
Yeah.
for the disciples that didn't do anything. Half of them doubted.
Yeah.
Didn't even, wasn't even worthy of it. Wasn't even, I'm talking about should not even got it. But all they got a whole basket full of bread.
Amen.
Thank you, Jesus.
What does that boy get? Nothing. As far as the world things.
Yeah.
I just got to park right here for just a second.
Bless you, Lord.
This boy got more than the world could ever imagine. You know what this boy got? Number one, he got a story to tell. Hey! He had a mother, no doubt, that made this meal. And he presented it to the master. And all of a sudden, hey, could you imagine now, with the story that he got, he could walk down the road. Somebody said, hey, aren't you the little boy that gave it? Oh, let me tell you what happened. All I had was 2 fishes and 5 loaves, and you should have seen what this master did with my mother's meal. I couldn't believe it. Ain't that just like God? I want you to know something. If you come to Jesus and you get saved by God's amazing, marvelous grace, you can stand up and say with all these other fellows, those wanted, hey, been somewhere and God's done a work in their life.